Hello, hello, how's everybody doing? Gonna be working some more on the hammer today. Grab all this stuff. Hello, hello, how's everybody doing? And I have to turn this down so I can't hear myself. Alright, so couple updates. Good news, I've got a new camera coming, so this will look better and we won't have white blowout every time something white is on screen. Hopefully. So last time I worked on transferring the side. Since then I've carved into it. Still needs a little bit of cleanup. Can't really tell, but there's a little bit of kind of rough edges in there, so I'm going to show you what tools I use to clean that up. Then we're going to talk a bit about how I got this and the tools I use to get this shape and keep it smooth. And then also this handle, which I did last week, and this little spike here, which will go on the bottom, like that. There we go in there. So today, I'm going to start transferring the pattern onto the other side, working on that. I'm going to clean this guy up, and I'm going to add the knurling, or the fancy diamond texture, to the handle here. So that's what we're going to be working on today. If you guys have any questions, please throw them up in the chat. I'm more than happy to answer. Just stop in, say what's up. It's all good. So yeah, let's get started with that. Also, if you go to my Facebook page or my website, I've got a list of my favorite tools and materials up with Amazon affiliate links. So go there, get some stuff. They have an Amazon Prime sale today, so take advantage of that. If you do spend money on Amazon by going through my website, then I get a tiny bit for every dollar that you spend, and that goes right back into this, helping me out. It's an affiliate program, so I put everything back into the shop here. A little bit of extra for me. And then I've also got a Patreon that I'm setting up right now. So once that's set up, I'll link that up here. And if you guys want to throw a couple bucks at that, help out. Helps improve the show. I can do this more often with better quality and more consistency, and bring you guys more awesome tips, tricks, and builds. Have a whole nicer setup, so I'll be linking that in the following live stream. So I haven't come up with quite the exact schedule that I'll be live streaming, but right now I'm going to be doing it Wednesdays and Fridays. Thinking at least once a week. Going to start aiming for Wednesdays. Try to do kind of midday-ish, right after lunch or around lunchtime. So if you're on the West Coast, you can watch it during lunch, and if you're on the East Coast, you can watch it later in the evening. So, and I will be throwing up all of these, I'll be putting all of these up on YouTube, so you can watch them afterwards. So if you didn't miss it, you can still go back and watch it, listen, see what I did, hear me, watch me look like a moron on camera. So, alright, let's get started. A quick tip, I forgot about this in the car, so here's how. Get it nice and cold again. A little compressed air. Make sure it's still in the bag. Nice cold candy bar. Might want to wipe that off first. Also good for kicking off hot glue. Alright. Sweet, got 6 people in here. Alright, feel free to join the chat, throw any questions my way. Alright, so let's get started. So, the stuff on the handle, this crazy texture, it's called knurling with a K. I believe that's what it's called. And it's this diamond pattern. Let me try to find a picture of that so I can explain what exactly knurling is, or better describe the texture. This up. Alright. Let's see. Come on, computer. Also, next big step is getting a whole new computer. So this runs faster, maybe we can have some music going in the background. Have better camera setup, and we don't have any lag spikes or any issues because of my poor old computer. So let's see what we got here. internet today? Alright, well, if you guys look at home on your computers, you'll notice on the handle that you've got this, this kind of diamond pattern here. Actually, I completely forgot. Got this little pattern right here. You can kind of see a little diamond pattern that goes on there. So, trying to figure out how I'm going to do that exactly. So I was looking at this, and it looks like there's 4 of these diamond shapes. So one here, one across, and then one on either side. So to figure out how big these diamonds should be, I took a piece of the foam that I'll be using. So this is like about 2-3 millimeter craft foam you get at Joann's, Michaels, or get it online at Amazon, which I have links for that on my website, on the new article I just posted. It's also on Facebook and Twitter. You can find that. So what I did to find out how wide the diameter should be of each of these was I took this foam and I wrapped it around. I also drew a line going all the way up and down here. So I wrapped it around and I figured out what this measurement was, the circumference with the foam, because adding a thicker material as you're wrapping it around something, you'll kind of lose length because of the thicker material curving around. So I used that, and then I figured out what that was, and then I divided that by 4, and I figured out how far across the diamond shape should be here, and then I used a little bit of math there, figured out what this should be, and then I figured out the squares for that. So I have my diamond shape, and then I drew it out on this pattern. So I need 4. So I have 4 right there, and I'll line this up on the bottom, and because this is at a 45-degree angle, I know that if I line all these up along the bottom and start wrapping that and making sure that as I wrap it, all of these are lining up. Of course, it's not glued, so it's slipping a little bit, but that'll all line up. Wrap it around there, and then I can just cut the excess off the other end, and then I have that. Now I know it's just drawn on, but what's going to happen is after I barge this on, I'm going to take a razor blade, I'm going to go back over all these lines, and I can cut through all the way to the other foam layer. This will all be barged on, and then I'll hit it with a heat gun, and then I'll pop all of these open. And that is how I'll get a nice, perfect knurling all the way around it. So that's how I'm going to work on today, and hopefully get that lined up. So that's the big issue, is keeping it lined up, because once you glue it on there with the barge, it's not moving. So let's see, first time's a charm, right? Get this. Alright, let's hop open my Snickers bar, because I haven't eaten much today. So, healthy. Alright, got some people in here. If you're just joining, my name is WM Armory, and you can check out my stuff at WMArmory.com, or on Facebook at WM Armory, or on Twitter at WM Armory, Instagram at WM Armory. I looked out, nobody else had it, so it's WM Armory everywhere you look, one word. So go check that out, like my pages, follow me. I'm going to start doing live streams at least once a week now, trying to bring you live builds and answer your questions. Yeah, alright, BioCosplay, give me some support from the chat. Go ahead, hop in the chat, guys, and throw questions my way. Just come in and say what's up. Alright. So here we go. I know this might be a little hard to see because of my awesome camera and the blowout. So, before I get started on this, because I just got in the shop not that long ago, so the last thing I want to do is something delicate and detail-oriented. I want to get a warm-up. I'm going to go into talking about this guy and how I got to this point and got this texture carved in here. So first off, and I've done this on a lot of other projects, I have blocked this guy off, figured out the maximum height, and the length, and the depth of this guy. And then I created a giant block of foam by layering mats with barge cement, and then I drew the silhouette, cut that all out, and then I started shaping it, drawing my pattern on there. So, drew my pattern on there, I rounded this guy out, got the nice beak shape, put the pattern on here, transferred the pattern to the other side. Now, as I was going along, because when I was making the pattern of this, the work that I went off of, it's a chrome metal finish. So, because of the chrome metal finish, that means that it's kind of hard to tell exactly what's a hard edge, what's a line, what's a reflection, shadow. Makes it a little tricky, so I had to modify this as I went. And I'm thinking I'm going to do a simplified for foam pattern and throw that up in the store. And I'll make it a lot easier and more defined, and I'll even color code what's a ridge, what's a valley. So when I say ridge and valley, I mean these high points here. So as it comes up to this peak, that's a ridge, and the negative space in the bottom is a valley. So I kind of drew that. You can see on here all these fancy lines. There was some chaos. Oh, there we go. Some chaos going on in here that I had to figure out, and around the eye here, and a little bit right here. Things weren't quite making sense exactly. It was hard to tell with the way the light was playing on the metallic chrome finish of this sweet hammer. So, yeah, I kind of simplified it a bit. Got the shape there, and the nostril. So to carve this out, I used my Dremel, my handy trusty Dremel. And when you're carving foam, the types of bits you want to use are the sanding and grinding bits. The smoother the better. You don't want too rough, or else it's going to leave a rough texture. So I got all these guys in here. I'll grab some of these out. Way too many bits. Oh, you can see my mess right there. It's all in camera. And there's glue in there. That should not be in there. That goes right there. You saw nothing. So there are many, there's only about 2 sanding bits. And they're these little mandrels where this piece comes off and you can exchange out the grit. So they're commonly in 2 grits. Rough and not rough. I don't know if they actually number them for Dremel. But usually they come in a pack with 2 different grits. So you've got this size, and then they've got a little smaller guy, which is right down here. So these guys are great for removing and getting the base shape of your foam. But when you really need to get in these angles, sometimes it can be kind of hard, or it removes too much material too fast. So that's when I go over to the grinding bits, and that's when I really start to kind of get the nice perfect shapes and whatnot. And these guys come in all shapes and sizes, different names and types. So this bit, as I throw it, this bit right here, it's actually a chainsaw sharpening bit, which sounds really cool, but it's really fun to use. Oh, where are we at? Right there. So you can see this guy. It's a long cylindrical sharpening or grinding stone. So I've got that. And then you got this one, which is kind of a rounded ice cream cone shape. And then a smaller, pointier one, kind of like that. And an even smaller one that is similar. And then you've got ones that are like this little teardrop kind of shape here with very round on the end. And then this one, which is a disc, but it's got kind of a dome shape to it. And then I've got these 2, which are very reminiscent of the sanding mandrels. These are actually grinding stones. Now the nice thing about these is, unlike these sanding bits, you only have one surface, one real shape. If you try to do it the other way, it's going to burn in, and which you can intentionally do if you want to do little rivets and whatnot, in the 2 different sizes here. But you really can't remove material that way because you have this hollow void in here. The nice part about these guys is you still have that grinding stone surface there, and you can use that. So you can actually do textures and details by pushing in, removing material, and it keeps it nice and clean, and that's how I got a lot of these in here, was by using those grinding bits. So just because it rotates one way doesn't mean that that's the only way to use that tool. I can use it this way, I can use it at an angle, I can get in tighter areas. I love this guy, I use this guy a lot. And when I really want to smooth out edges and corners and grooves, I usually turn to these guys right here. And then sometimes I go to these guys when I want to do cuts and gashes and stuff. And then when I want 45-degree grooves, bigger ones, I turn to these guys. So I use this guy right here quite a bit, and I used him to get kind of these large grooves. inside here and to clean up and come back over this way. Smooth and blend all those out. Now when I got to these tight little curves, this guy is a little tricky to keep straight, and it's like kind of a rough sketched line. So then I started turning to the smaller guys. So as it gets to tighter curves and tighter lines, you want to start moving down in size. So you can start with this large guy and move on down to this smaller guy, and then eventually end up with that sharpening stone for the chainsaws. So that's what I used for this, and it still needs a bit of cleanup. I got the rough shape done. And as I was going before, you might have seen in the last stream, I started to color code and figure out and sat down and really looked at this and tried to problem solve on what would be a high point and a low point. So you can still kind of see a bit of the red in there where I align that as a high point and figured out these different high points along here. So, and always, whenever you're doing sculpting, drawing, anything, make sure that you have your reference material up. It is huge and beneficial. You should always have that up. Makes your life easy. Don't try to remember it or recall what it looks like, because 9 times out of 10 you're going to recall it wrong. So always have it up. Always be looking at it. Oops. Looks like I found it here. Alright. So let's see. I'm trying to save that so I don't have to keep going after it. And let's see. Let's save it directly on desktop there. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this up and show you guys. No, I lost it. There we go. Alright. Boom. There we go. So this right here was how I was trying to figure out when I had it zoomed in, trying to figure out the shapes and what's a high point, what's a low point, what's further back, what's closer. It gets a little tricky in some areas, like especially around here. We're trying to figure out what exactly is going on around here or around the eye here. So that was a lot of the problem solving I had, and sometimes I couldn't figure out exactly what it was doing, so I just did the closest thing that made sense. So that's what I have to do now on the flip side. So I'm gonna have this up while I'm working for reference, and because I'm working on the other side, I'm actually gonna flip this around so I don't have to sit there and stop and think. It'll be exactly the direction I need it to be. Wrong one. There we go. All right, we're back. My ugly mug. All right. Let's see. Can I flip this guy? No, I want to flip you. Well, maybe I have to put you in Photoshop. I might have to put this in Photoshop because this won't let me do it. Alright, so start that up. Hopefully that won't crap out my computer. Here's to hoping. Alright. This up fast. Let's see, that looks good. Okay. Horizontally. Save this guy. Oop, just a JPEG. Make sure that's up there. Where? Crap. Oh. Put it in Dropbox. I'm a genius. Okay. Okay, computer, it's okay. I stopped doing all the other stuff. Work now. Crap. Looks like might be having some issues, so I'll give it just a moment to catch up. Alright, looks like we had some technical difficulties there. The computer did not want to tolerate me grabbing an image and saving it, so hopefully get this figured out again. There we go. Okay, looks like everything's back. Good to go. Alright, sorry about that, folks. Okay. So let's see. Get these guys organized and out of the way here. And I'm going to go ahead and mute this, and I'll start cleaning this guy up. So I don't need these right now. I have quite a few bits, actually. Okay. I'll grab my mask. Now, speaking of masks, been working on this guy. Check that out. Got the Immortan Joe mask. I got this guy. The sculpt is from Deadbeard Props. You can check him out on Facebook. Some pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool dude from Austria there. But this guy I've been working on. A little bit of cleanup to it. One thing I changed though is I sanded off all the sculpted on rivets and I added actual little metal bits there and metal screws. So when I try to wipe off the paint or hit it with some sandpaper, it'll actually really highlight these little bits. I put these guys on here, and then I got the hoses, which after I paint it, I'll attach on there. So the next thing I got to do is figure out some sort of strapping system for this guy. So I figure I'll do something similar to a respirator. So that guy right there, set him back in the drying room, and I'll work on him later. Excuse me while I sneakily eat off camera. Alright. So, get some more light over here. So I'm going to clean this up. I want to get in these grooves here, flatten that out a little more. So I'm going to go with the chainsaw sharpening bit to get right in there first. Some little bits out here. Actually, I'm going to keep that organized. Got this handy magnetic bowl. You can get these guys on Amazon or at Harbor Freight. They'll have them in all shapes and sizes. Most automotive places will have them. These are great. They're magnetic, so you can stick this in a toolbox or if you're under a car even. That's what they're coming in for. But since they're magnetic, you don't have to worry about stuff falling out. So I'll pop all these guys in there so they don't roll away. And I know all my bits are going to be right there. Don't have to worry about it. Handy tools. Alright. Get my mask on and I'll start sanding this. There we go.
think?
No, I think I'm going to say hello to everybody. Wait, let me make sure it's mic's on.
Hello!
Right there. Yeah, okay, you're in. Say hello to Rob, everybody.
I made
Coming over to show me his
wizard
cool
stabs.
stuff. Oh, nice. What are these from?
Final Fantasy.
Ah, okay.
Like old school.
Some big PVC pipe. What'd you get on top there? Is that foam?
Yep.
Is that Ooh.
Each of these
Cool.
has an Arduino in it, too. for
You
lighting
and your
things.
fancy electronics.
Bottom's got... I've got little nubs here, so I just dismantled a flashlight.
Oh,
So
okay.
3 AAAs in the bottom, then you screw it on.
Nice. Pretty
Alright,
cool.
I gotta go get my feet. Be back a little bit.
All right, take it easy. All right, so because of the way the lighting is, and I like to get close, I get in like this. I'm gonna block the camera, so I think I'll leave the cleanup for later. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and do this knurling now. I want to postpone it off. Okay, so I'll grab my handy barge. Darken in some of these guidelines here. The top. I'll start at the top here. All right. My ruler. I don't know if anybody else watches it. Does anybody else here watch BattleBots? Just watched the 4th episode. Pretty cool show. It's robots destroying each other, so I mean, how cool is that? If you haven't checked it out, you can see it on YouTube for free, so you don't even need cable. I also have it on Hulu. I think it's I don't even know what channel it's actually on, but it's a pretty cool show. Suggest you go check it out. Kind of makes me wish I knew stuff about robotics. All right. Make sure that lines up okay. I'll mark that be a nice starting point. And then these little voids in here, I'll just come back with a piece of squared off foam and pop that in there after I heat it up, so that way I don't have to worry about that. Don't worry about that later. Just want to make sure that this lines up nicely. That should be fine. Okay. Well, here we go. So to hold that, I'll put that in here. And gonna get a piece of scrap foam. So scrap foam is great for kind of smearing and spraying around like a squeegee the barge. So make myself a quick little squeegee piece here. Okay. Should be good. Cool. It's nice to have some scrap laying around so you can test stuff out. Do it. Go watch it BioCosplay. Go watch BattleBots. It's on YouTube. It's kind of meh quality, but of the video, but the show is really fun to watch. Alright. Let's see. put on my respirator. I'm gonna pop this window open, get some fresh air in here. I don't know if you guys know this, but my office has a pretty sweet window view. It looks directly at Bill's car tire. And at a certain point, at the time of day, the sun hits his car just perfectly to get right in my eye. But I do have a window in my office. Living large. Living the dream. Window with an office. Okay. Barge time. I'll be right back. Always nice to have a pair of these around for opening stuff. Slap of the goo on there. Squeegee that on. You can always tell when your barge is good because it spreads really nicely. When it's going bad, it wants to be clumpy and nasty and kind of chunky like boogers. So has anybody been to Comic-Con? Anybody go to San Diego? Quite a few cool things down there. See, they're making a World of Warcraft movie. Showing some cool stuff from that. But the thing that I was most excited about to see was the behind-the-scenes Star Wars stuff, which looks pretty cool. If you didn't know, I am a huge Star Wars fan and nerd. Move this guy up here. Yeah, I am making a solar hammer from the new subclass coming out for Destiny. It's a Titan hammer. Oh, that's right, they released a little more Deadpool stuff. Yeah, that looks pretty cool too. I don't know a whole lot about Deadpool, but looks like it's pretty funny, so I have to check that out. I'm a little more partial to Marvel than DC. me show you. Here we go. So that's the side I have yet to carve, and that's the side that I have carved. Boom! Fanciness. So I have to do this side. A lot of fun. Pop that guy in there. Close my barge back up. Oh god, what have I done? There we go. That's it. A little tacky. Get some more Red Bull. Oh. Yes, the Star Wars stuff was definitely cool. I don't know how I feel about the Batman vs Superman. I like Batman. Not a huge Superman fan. But, I don't know. It started a little cool, but then when the actor playing Lex Luthor came out, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah. Not doing Galahorn anytime soon. This is not a resin cast. This is all just carved right out of EVA foam floor mats. You can kind of see right here. I've got, let's see, like 8 layers of foam with this little thin layer of craft foam in the middle. So it marks my center line. That way, I know where my center line's at, and I never have to worry about sanding it off. So this is all just foam, except for this dowel in the middle here. Everything is foam, including this little spike, which goes right there on the end. So right now, I'm going to add the detail around the handle. It's called knurling with a K. It's that cool diamond texture you see on stuff. That's what I'm doing now. Boom. There we go. Need one back wider so I don't have to keep adjusting the camera as I sit down and stand up. Alright, so let that sit for a little bit. Now with context cement, the idea is to let it get tacky before you adhere it. So they have gotten pretty dark with the DC stuff. So I don't know. Well, I'm not. The Batman armor does look pretty cool. I'm a fan of armor, so that'll be pretty interesting to see. I don't know. I think it'll be one of those ones I'll wait, see how it does, listen to everything, and if it does get good reviews, maybe I'll go see it. Grab the matinee. If not, I'll probably Redbox it. We'll see. But bet your ass, I'm gonna be opening night Star Wars probably the next couple days after. Wasn't digging the Suicide Squad one either. I don't know, but they're all a bit of a ways off, so I'm not going to put any stock into those. So I'm going to be putting up last week's stream on YouTube so you can catch all that. I also have all kinds of carving tips, foam carving tips on my website that you can check out. If you go to wmarmory.com and in the tutorial section, there's one actually on carving foam. Let me grab that and I'll link that to you guys. I go over in smaller detail, and actually, I don't. Nope, I do. I go over how I made this little guy, a much smaller, much simpler version, but this was for the shoulder piece to my my Skyrim cultist, and I used a lot of the same techniques I used on this for this big guy. This is just a larger scale. So I go over exactly how I made this and painted that up, and I figured this guy out and got all those shapes to it. So I'll link that up right now. Yeah, I think the Deadshot stuff is the only decent looking costume work there. Not a huge fan of the rest of it. I was hoping Killer Croc would look a little more Croc-like. Looks like a little bit of prosthetic, a lot of paint. So, we'll see. On the fence about them both. What do I want? Not FAQ blog. Tips. Some carving More foam spikes. Here we go. Carving foam. Once this loads, I'll link that up. So that's a link to my tutorial on carving foam and how I made this guy right here, how I shaped it and everything, the tools I used. This is the simplest kind of way to do it. But I just use those basic methods to do this with more variety of tools. Check that out. Should kind of get you started on the right path there. Alright, so it looks like this barge is starting to set. Oh, I'm cutting out. There we go. Okay. Alright. That's about 2:56. Got about another hour to do this live streaming. So, let's see. Yeah, I think that soaked up quite a bit of the barge. So barge can soak in a foam because the foam is coarse. So you want to make sure you have a nice layer of it on there. So if it soaks in too much, you got to do another layer. So I'm going to go ahead and do another layer. And usually the newer the barge, the more it will soak in. I'm going to go ahead and do a new layer, or second layer. Because I just got this guy not too long ago. Generally, I will use Plastidip. That's my go-to. It's good. It's effective. It works. So I'll probably do about 4 layers of Plastidip on this guy, maybe 5, depending, and then I'll start painting him up. Probably using one of my preferred paints, which is the Design Masters. So, and I'll go all over all that. I'll do a build write-up on this guy, and link all the methods and things that I use to do this guy. So, more barge. Oh god, making a mess. Alright, there we go. Oh, I almost forgot. One of the other videos that came out, or trailers that came out for San Diego Comic-Con, was X-Men Apocalypse. That's what I'm very excited for. Like most people, I grew up watching the 90s X-Men cartoon every Saturday morning, and that was my gateway into the comic world. My father didn't really like me having comic books, so I watched that cartoon. And I started getting into it when they did the Apocalypse stuff, so I was really into that. And one of my favorite characters is Archangel, because they take a useless superhero and make him an awesome anti-hero. And he is supposed to be in the new X-Men Apocalypse movie, so I'm pretty stoked. Alright. Pop that guy back there. This guy's sit. That barge sets, and then I'll very carefully apply that. Oh. I did not see the Days of Future Past X-Men Rogue Cut stuff. So I know some people didn't like Future Past. I thought it was alright. I didn't have any issues with it, really. I like that they're kind of trying to reset the X-Men world there. Yes! They're bringing Nightcrawler back. Yeah, I got a lot of good characters they're bringing in. I like that they finally have Jubilee. I was a pretty big X-Men fan growing up. I never had one superhero that I was extremely fond of, but the show as a whole, I was pretty fond of that. So I'm excited what they're doing with that. Also, some more Fantastic Four. Never really liked the Fantastic Four, but I have to say that this film looks a lot better than all of the other Fantastic Fours. So at least it's got that going for it. If anything, it looks fun, so I'll still probably go see it. Of course, Ant-Man coming out soon. That looks pretty fun too. I've already had people ask if I'm going to make the Ant-Man helmet, which is a big resounding no, so don't get your hopes up. I did Star-Lord. That was enough. Not going to venture into any more Marvel properties. On the plus side, the bar is pretty low, so they don't have to go much higher to be better. That's right, Gambit. This is Channing Tatum, so we'll see how that goes. I know some people are also pretty upset with that casting choice, but I'm a little indifferent, so we'll see how. I think that should be interesting. Give the guy the benefit of the doubt, so. Still a little tacky. Oh, man. Alright. This is the stressful part. We got one shot at this, or else I have to redo the entire handle, or try to sand it back down. So, should be interesting. This is a true test of my dexterity. Hopefully I roll a nat 20. Not a 1. Knowing my luck, it's probably going to be a 1. Get the caffeine going while this barge sets up. Looks like it's still a little wet here, so give it a moment. Kind of sneak off camera and finish my... Oh, I put it on camera. Finish my Snickers. While that barge finishes setting up, thought I'd take a moment to show you guys this up close, some different angles here. This was a commission I did recently. It was for Taventure Armor. I'll just finish that up. I'm going to be at its new home shortly, hopefully. And so it's a dragon on there. That was fun to do. So I hand drew this pattern. Well, I got the basics off of a vector image I made. Hand drew the rest. Simplified a lot because it's pretty detailed. But I put that on. This was actually the same thickness of craft foam that I'll be using for the knurling on the handle. But I layered that on there, glued that on there, and then I hit it, covered the entire thing with this really nice vibrant copper paint. It was Vallejo, which if you go to my newest post, talked about my favorite tools and materials. I cover Vallejo and linked to that. So this is their liquid metal, or liquid copper. I used that. And then I went over it with this really cool stuff. I can't pronounce the first word, but it's something oxide. But it's this really cool stuff, and it's a wash. It's very thin down, but you do it over non-ferrous metals, and you get this really cool kind of coppery patina look, and it gets the kind of the oxidizing in the recesses there. So this was a fun project. How to do that. It's always fun to change it up from heavy sci-fi stuff or very clean props to do something kind of grody and worn and weathered, make it look like it's kind of been aged. So I got that there. Another cool fun thing was this choker, which goes for that character because they're kind of their story. It's from the game Dragon Age, and their story for these guys is that they're enslaved, kind of like gladiator warriors. So I got this look like it's riveted on there, and then that's actually magnets, and I'll do another tip coming up soon on how I put the magnets here. Because you can't see, it looks like solid foam there. Same on the other side, and it pops together. Holds pretty well. They're those rare earth neodymium, I'm saying that wrong, magnets. But then I also have this foam hinge on the other side, which, if you look closely, actually moves. So that's a separate piece, so it can actually hinge and move. It looks like a real hinge there. But on the inside to hold it, because I didn't want actually any mechanical strength here, I just have a strip of elastic on the other side. But that is separated, and you can see that the hinge does move a bit there. So, and that's all foam, with a plastic rod through the center to hold it. And these little rivet guys are actually furniture tacks, with the pointy end clipped off and jammed in there. And then one of my more recent tip, I went over how I did all these spikes. Alright, cards should be set. Oh, here we go. So, I'll figure out how I'm going to get a hold of this first. Pop this off, starting with the top. I might actually leave this there. You know, I need something to hold this. I'm going to use one of these clamps. Always handy to have clamps around. So I don't want that to actually touch. So, got that. I need to make sure that this is lined up with a 45-degree angle there. So excuse me if I'm quiet or I start this at a weird angle. I gotta make sure it's lined up right, so bear with me here as I get this. One shot. And I'm already cooking. Oh boy. Nope, nope, nope. Crap. No worries. I'll have to get some of theirs. There's a thinner you can get for this. And if you screw up, it makes it pretty easy to try to fix. So, just pop that up there. Because you can kind of uncure it a bit. So, let's see. Yeah, shit. Oh, man. Hoop. Well, this might be a bust, guys. Can't line this up. But you know what? That's how we learn from it. Yep, it's ruined. It's ruined. Yeah. Alright, but I can probably salvage the handle. I'll just have to redo this piece here. Well, so much for that. But you know what? Everybody makes mistakes. So while it's stressful and a little frustrating that I spent all day yesterday lining that up, it's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go sand off this part here and fix that up. Alright, so that's what bench sanders for. I got this all cleaned up again, so I'm going to have to draw that up. But now you get to see how I drew that out as a plus side. So, here's this stuff here. This is the thinner craft foam. You can get rolls of this stuff, or you can get smaller sheets of it, but it's great for adding thin layers of stuff. So, go. Use this. And I need not very much. So, I think when I try this again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark out a better guideline on here at a 45-degree angle. I might actually take a piece of paper or something original, like some cardstock, and do like a nice line for myself to follow, so I have a better guide for when I put that on here. So we'll see Since I've sanded this down, I'm wondering if the diameter has changed at all, so I'm going to check that out. So, what I'm going to do to check that, because every time I remove material from this and sand it down, its diameter is going to shrink a little bit, so that might actually change what the diameter of my knurling layer is going to be. So, pop over here. Alright, if you're just entering in the chats, welcome. My name is Will of WM Armory. It's a chat that or a live stream that I do of builds. Trying to do this once a week now, just getting started. This is actually episode 2. So, not missing much. Working on the solar hammer here for the Titan from Destiny. So I got the head there. You can kind of see some of the detail I'm working on. Right now I'm working on the handle. So I got to do this stuff, this texture around there. That's called knurling. So I'm working on that layer of the handle right now. And if you missed it, I just screwed up royally, and I have to do it over again. So that's what happens. That's how we learn, by making mistakes. I know that's at least how I learned. That's how I learned my first word. My first word was hot, because I touched the stove. Fun stories. Alright. So, oops. Got a little straight line there. This is going to be my test piece to figure out the diameter of this and see if it's changed at all. So, this guy around. We get a pen. Gonna mark that. Oops, I stepped on something. What was that? Oh, little tiny screws on there. Okay. So mark that. That's the top. I'm gonna make sure that the bottom is the same. It's roughly the same. Might be a smidge smaller. So I'm gonna do right in between. So like that. So whatever this measurement is, divided by 4, is going to be the width of my diamond shape. So I will cut this guy in half. Because I don't want to do math. Not saying I can't do it, just not fond of math. Alright, then I'll figure this guy out. So this is saying that my diameter is... it's not a nice clean measurement, not like I was hoping. And my diameter is... it's like 1 3/16. I was hoping for something a little cleaner and be more even. A little easier to measure, since I have to do a massive grid. So... now I'm going to need a piece of paper. Use the bag of this. Alright. So, sounds like Rob is back. So, measurements. Now I could make that a smidge smaller since this stuff might stretch a bit. Yeah, I think I'll do that. I think it should be fine if I actually cut it down to inch and... What's up? Interrupting my live stream. That's Rob, everybody. And if you're familiar with Punished Props, that is his twin brother. who is a wizard with electronics. So it is always nice to have him around for my LED questions. So let's see. That's 1 1/8". That's where the fun comes in.
A little later when I gotta show you a cool painting technique
Oh yeah.
to make fake wood grain
Oh.
using this that I made.
Huh.
It's pretty interesting. I'll
Okay.
show you when I get to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Try here. What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea. Oh. It's probably an easy way to do this, or a formula I can use, but that'll be difficult. Okay. Get a pencil out of here so I get a nice, smaller, cleaner line. Okay, so square for that. It's hard to say what exactly it should be. Actually, you know what? I can find out exactly. Let's get a program here. Hello, Crunch68. I make props and costumes, and right now I'm working on this solar hammer. It's the new Titan weapon from Destiny. So this guy's made out of foam, and that's what I'm fabricating right now. Right now I'm fixing my mistake I made. I was trying to do some knurling, or this fun texture on the handle here, and messed up. So I had to sand this handle back down, and I'm remeasuring it out and doing this guy again. So that's what I'm currently working on.
What is knurling?
Knurling. So glad you
Oh,
asked,
okay.
Rob. Is this fancy texture on there?
That is fancy.
Yeah. So the idea is, and I messed up the first time because I barged it and I stuck it on slightly off, so I didn't wrap around right. But the idea is that this will go on here, all nice and lined up. This one was slightly too big, and then it will wrap around there, and then I'll hit these with a heat gun, and then they'll pop open.
Nice.
So that's the idea. And that plan all fell apart.
That's a good idea.
So, was that?
That's a good idea.
Yeah. As long as I can do it. Oh, Rob? He's already gone. Sorry. Alright, let's have this fancy vector drawing program here. And we can draw a perfect square. Yep. Maybe? Nope. And then I can figure out and measure the exact measurement of this guy. So, alright. Zoom in there. I need. Oops, that's pixels. I need inches. I already forgot what I said it was. Inch and 1/8. So I need this to be. And of course, I'm measuring in fractions, and it's giving me decimals. Math, you win again. Alright, try this. Oh, what happened? I already messed up. Alright, sorry about this. All this damn math. Get this the correct size, and then I can figure out all the dimensions of this thing. My chat says hello, Rob.
Hello, chat.
Rob says hello, chat.
Hey, you know what I'm thinking, Will?
What are you thinking, Rob?
I'm thinking we should have a Screw Bill party.
A screw bill party?
He's having way too much fun.
He is.
Screw him. We'll have our own party. With blackjack. And hookers.
Sounds like a plan.
Alright.
Looks close enough for me.
I got staff butts.
Staff butts.
Staff butts.
Oh, I see. Those are the glowy bits.
Those are the bottom of the flashlight.
I
So
wanna
these will
show
actually
the chat here.
these will screw onto my staff.
Okay. Oh, what happened? Something happened. Oh God, what have I done?
The staff butts were too awesome.
Okay.
Those will screw on
It's
to
right
the
here.
end. There. That's the bottom of the flashlight. The top of the flashlight's in the bottom of the staff, and then the wires run up to the head.
Okay. Nice. So those are buttons and stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's see this wood painting thing you have.
Well, I have to actually do it.
Okay.
I'll show you when I get to it.
Sure. All right. Back in math. Everybody's down for this party.
It should be pretty quick.
Dill, the third brother that we don't speak of. Alright, back to the mathing. Let's see. Oh, math. Let's see. To a fraction. You know what would fix this problem? Is if we use the metric system. Never have to worry about fractions again. At least, you know, with what I do. You know what? I'll just do the exact same. Should be good. I think it should work. I think I just stretched it maybe a bit too much. So we got, this is actually my original one I did that was slightly off. I'm thinking I might be able to actually just use this guy because it was only slightly off. All is not lost. The only problem was it wasn't quite perfect square. Lines were slightly off. So let's see. You know what? Let me see if I can't line this up, and I'll draw a guideline on there, and we'll see about fixing that. This is 14 inches. This guy is actually... Now I gotta remember. I did a build write-up of this. So... let me find that. If you go to wmarmory.com and you look under my tips and tutorials and you scroll back to the archives, you should be able to find this guy. This is done out of several layers of foam, and just like this block here, I had a center piece that's a different alternating color, and that way I never have to worry about losing my center or a line getting sanded off. I can always tell where it's at and I can sharpen to that. And I like to use the really thin 3mm craft foam for that. So that's what I did with this guy. So I did, I think it's a layer of that thin stuff in the middle, and then a layer of the 6mm, I believe black on either side, sandwiched in there. And that's how I did this all the way up until the handle there. This guy, I believe, is just the 2 layers because I wanted it to be slightly thinner. You can see the different shapes on there. This guy is just a little strip of the 6mm slapped in the bottom, and I did a wrap around the back, give it kind of a sci-fi look to it. And this guy is the 3mm. And I did these little bands on there. It's my little quick sci-fi thing. And this whole tip was to show how to do a perfect beveled edge using guidelines and such. So there we go. Switch over to my camera so I can see. There we go. Yeah, you can see that guy. This guy is 100% foam. Since it's so short, I didn't put a rigid support in it because it's short. It's not that long, so it's not going to bend too much. Had it been longer or more elaborate, I probably would have added some rigid support in it. But this has no rigid support. It is 100% foam, safe to throw at people. Don't do that. Don't throw it at people. Still could get somebody in the eye. So there you go. Oh, that's awesome. My tutorial comes up first. How about that? Yay, Google. Boom. Shiny, shiny. Okay. So playing around with this. Let's see if I can't get this one to work, because this is the first one I did. fun stuff. There we go. Fixed. Nailed it. So I'm going to try and line this guy up here. So the problem is it's just a smidge. That's what I need to do. I need to use some poster board instead of trying to draw my answer. Yeah, I should. I think I got an idea. Anytime something has to line up just perfectly like this, it can be quite a pain in the ass. Excuse my language. Alright. Well, I was hoping that first one would go faster so you could see the rest of the process. Maybe if we're lucky, we could still get it done in the amount of time. If not, I don't mind going over just a little bit so we can get that on video and I can better explain it and show you all how I did it. I'm trying to keep these live streams at 2 hours though. So, let's see. Let's see about getting this guy lined up. That's not too bad. Okay. See, whenever I do a test like this, it lines up just perfect, but whenever I go to glue it on, it doesn't want to work with me. Alright. So there. Only problem is, man, those are not perfectly square. Pretty close, but yeah, my foam shifted when I was doing this first test piece to see if my idea would work. So since it's thin and kind of squishy, it shifted, and my squares didn't quite line up right. So you know what? That just might work. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'll figure out the happy spot for this, where that likes to sit. And then I'm going to draw a guideline on there, so as I'm laying this down, it lines up perfectly on that line, so that I know when I wrap this around, it should line up fine. Should line up fine. We'll see. Ooh, my face is kind of blowing out in there. There we go. There. So looks like that corner is going to get overlapped just a bit. So, line this guy up. Okay. Sorry, I gotta use my legs to hold this, so I'm gonna go off camera for a second here. Boop. There we go. So I kind of have a guide starting point to line up around there. Kind of see that little line I drew right there. All right. So I'm gonna try to sand off some of this gunk left behind. My safety glasses on. Spared myself the math and salvaged my old piece. So that's always a plus. Get some of this stuff out of my way here. Alright, 14 people in here. My all-time high. Thanks everybody for being here. This is ending up to be a lot of fun. I like live streaming and I'd like to start doing it more. Oh, we just lost a person. Son of a... No. It's a lot of fun. Start doing this more often. So, I bet that person left just because I said that. There's too many people in here. Too many people. Too many cooks. Too many cooks. Alright, so. Boom! Did I already finish my... I guess I finished my Red Bull. I did. Alright. Get some water. This mofo over. Get my barge. There's always some more of these scraps that are lingering around here. So I love these little like squirt bottle tops, but this is too tiny. So I bought this so I get the squirt bottle top so I could put it on this guy. Yeah. Is what wood? Rage for the 181 asks, is that wood? Are you referring to the hammer? This is all foam. EVA foam floor mats, the kind of fatigue mats that you stand on. 100% foam. I carved that with a Dremel. There you go, you can get a little contrast on the hawk head there. Boom! Still pretty dense though. You can see it's got a little bit of flex to it. Still pretty solid, rigid. So you can find this stuff at different levels of rigidness. I prefer the more rigid stuff because it holds its shape better. It's easier to sculpt and whatnot. So I don't like the squishier stuff. Stuff is still pretty dense. So. All right. Hydrate. Get my mask on. This barge is some stanky stuff. Get my little foam barge squeegee here. on that. Gotta get this guy. Fun, tedious process of applying barge. Pop that back in there to hold it so it's not touching anything. And we get to play hurry up and wait. So while we wait, why don't you send your prop and costume making questions my way, film every questions, and I am more than happy to answer them. Anybody? Any questions? Alright, well then, how about you guys? What cool projects are you all working on? Anybody working on any cool projects? Any cool costumes or anything that you guys have got going on? If you have any links to any stuff you've done or want to link me to any cool stuff, go ahead and send that to my Twitter, at WM Armory, and I can check that out. Links don't really work too well here in the chat, so you can check that out. And if you haven't, go ahead, like my Facebook page, follow me there. I post tips and stuff up all the time. Useful, helpful stuff. On Twitter as well. I just joined up on Instagram, constantly posting cool pictures up there. Check that out. Follow my page. Follow in the shenanigans. Yes, it smells like cancer and goes on like boogers. Wonderful barge, but it works incredibly. I love barge. It's great stuff. Once I started using it, I haven't stopped. Before that, I used hot glue and or super glue, depending on what exactly I was doing. But barge is great. You can usually get it. You can get it online. Amazon has it, or you can get it at any of your local leather crafting stores. They will also carry this stuff. It is wonderful. It is potent, so make sure you have a respirator and some good ventilation while you're working with it. And it does have an expiration date, so if you're not doing mass quantities of stuff, this guy's fine. It comes with an applicator. It's a good size to use. If it's a little thick or you mess up, you can get some stuff that's barge thinner, and you can use that to kind of remove a little bit of the barge so you can kind of reset it. So if I had that, I probably wouldn't have been able to salvage the last screw I did with the handle. Yes, gallon size is nice, especially when you go through a lot of costume stuff. If you're doing full costumes, back when I was doing a lot of full costume commissions, I blew through the gallon really fast. So Super 77 can be pretty fun. I'm not as much of a fan with the barge. It works better for like upholstery foam or the thinner, more porous foams. I like the barge. It seems to hold a little bit better than the Super 77 for this stuff. So, alright, almost setting. 3:51. We got about 10 more minutes here. Hopefully this sets and get this on video so you guys can see this. I'm getting my head in the camera there. Sorry about that. See the top of my beautiful luscious mohawk. There we go. There we go. Fix that camera angle. See, creepy basement rafters. So maybe I'll throw a green screen up there and make it look nice and luxurious behind me. All in a good time. Do some upgrades. Next upgrade, though, I get a nice Logitech camera, so Might have that for Friday's stream. Definitely have that for next week's stream. So this will look a lot prettier, but this camera's probably going to stay the same, or I might switch them around because this one's a little better quality than that one. So you can see my ugly mug in higher def. Okay. There we go. Call that good. Pop this guy off here. So, starting with the top, going to clamp this guy off again. Okay, switch over to camera there. So, I'm going to sit down here, just slightly off camera so I can try to get this lined up, so bear with me. Holding this with my legs. Okay. Maybe should have worn gloves. Looks like it's lining up. Good news. Close there. I'll go in there and try to smooth that out. Some bit of wrinkles in there where it was slightly larger, but press all that in, kind of squish those out. A little easier to get that down since it's a thinner foam. Kind of see where the lip came up right there. But after I pop this open and heat gun it, that should pull in and tighten, and if not, I can go over it and sand that down to make sure that this is nice and flush. But it gives me a nice guide. And some of these guys are a little off, but I can fix all that as I'm going over with this blade. So I'm using the backside, but I can go over and line all those up so they actually kind of line up a little bit better. So using this straight edge. And then for these little voids in here, I'm just going to take some extra squares, 90 degrees, and just pop that in there, and that should cover that up. But there we go. That's the knurling. So what I'm going to do next, clean this up. I'm going to clip off the excess up here. And I'm going to take the razor blade and hit these, cut those open. As I slice those and hit those with a heat gun, they'll pop open. You can see that trick on my website at wmarmy.com. Go to my tips tutorials and look up how to do detail lines, and it will show you all about how to do stuff like that, how to get that cool detail. So, yes, a green screen full of dick butts. It says CG Jeff. I agree, that would be wonderful. If you haven't noticed, hidden around the shop, there's a ton of dick butts, because my shopmates are fun and full of shenanigans. So, I think I'm going to go ahead and fully detach it. This guy doesn't really hold on too much, or else it kind of spins. So, oh god, I've ruined it. So I'll probably just do a full attached piece like that. And then I'm going to have some fun and not tell people it's foam, and I'm going to throw it at them. Or just toss it to them. But yeah, so I'll cut the excess off there, and there. A little spike will go on. We've got the fancy hammer with the knurling on there. There's also these little raised pieces on there. I'll go ahead and do that after I get that fancy detail on there. So, that's what we got for today's live stream. It's coming up on 2 hours now, so I'm gonna go ahead and call it. I hope you all enjoyed today. Got some fun knowledge and learned a bit. Enjoyed this. I think it'll be a lot more fun when I do painting and have a better camera with a bit better lighting setup. Hopefully I can zoom in and get more on the detail so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing with my hands and what I'm doing when I get in here. And then as things progress and I get that Patreon all set up, if you guys want to throw $1 here, $1 there, really help out. I'll put that towards doing more cameras, better quality, have a better setup so you guys could really get into the action and see exactly what I'm doing and get more of a hands-on feel for all this. So thanks everybody for coming. Go ahead, check me out on Twitter at wmarmory.com, Facebook /wmarmory. Twitter's at wmarmory. My website is wmarmory.com. I'm on Instagram, allwmarmory.com, because I lucked out and nobody else stole that. So hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you next week at Wednesday, or maybe earlier. We'll see. I'll go ahead and post that, and I'll come up with an exact schedule, and I'll post that on my website and announce that. So for now, take it easy. Thanks everybody for coming in.